Hello everyone, this is American Idioms Part 100. This is the 100th video in my American Idiom series, and like the others, I'll present 5 idioms to you numbered 496 to 500. But first, I'll give you a chance to guess their meanings. Then, I'll give you the answers along with an additional example for each new idiom. I also recommend that you pause the video at each question to give yourself some extra time to think of the answers. So, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Number 496. More than meets the eye. And the example is, the incident appears to be a simple robbery made by kids, but the detective said that there is more than meets the eye there because of the sophisticated way it was done. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is B, a hidden aspect of something. This is what it means if something is more than meets the eye. It means that we really can't see everything about it. There's more to it than what it appears. Like in our example, we're talking about how this robbery looked like it was done by kids to most people, but this detective saw that, it was sophisticated. Somebody did something that was maybe kids couldn't do because they're young kids. Okay? So there was more than meets the eye there. Like our next example. I live in a very small town, and many people think that it is very boring. But they will discover that there is more than meets the eye here if they come here on vacation. So in this case, there are hidden aspects of the town that are very interesting, not boring. That's what it means if something is more than meets the eye. All right, and now our next example, number 497. Beat someone to the punch. And the example is, there is an old house in my neighborhood that I wanted to buy at a really cheap price, but my friend Mark beat me to the punch and bought it yesterday. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is B, to obtain or to do something before someone else does it. Like in our example, this person's friend, Mark, beat him to the punch, bought the house before he did. Okay, so his friend Mark took a deal away from him, right? He bought the house before this guy got a chance to buy it. All right, he beat him to the punch. Like our next example. I was planning on cleaning out my basement this weekend, but when I went down there last night, I discovered that my wife had beat me to the punch and had already cleaned it. So this guy was lucky, right? Because his wife beat him to the punch of cleaning out their basement. Okay? She did it first. She did something before he did. Okay? That's what it means. And now for number 498. For the birds. And the example is, owning a car in the city is for the birds. It's too expensive, especially when it comes to parking. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is C, a worthless, stupid, or undesirable thing. That's what we call something that is for the birds. Like this person in the example is talking about how in the city, if you park a car somewhere, or if you have to park a car somewhere, it's very expensive. And that's not a good thing, okay? Especially if you live in a city where rent is probably high too, right? So we say it's for the birds. It's worthless. It's stupid. Okay? It's used a lot. Like our next example. I know some people like them, but to me, cold, snowy winter days are for the birds. This person hates the winter, like me, and they don't like these cold, snowy winter days. They're for the birds. Completely undesirable. All right, this is me talking. All right, and now for number 499. Lose one's train of thought. And the example is, I was doing really well with my oral presentation in class until two students began talking to each other quite loudly in the back of the classroom. And it made me lose my train of thought as I was finishing. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is A, to suddenly forget or to be unable to continue with a line of thinking. In our example, this person was giving a presentation and maybe he had it memorized, all right? And then people started to talk in the back of the classroom and it distracted him and it interrupted his train of thought, as we say, or his line of thinking, okay? And then he probably forgot his presentation while it was maybe towards the end of it. Okay? Like our next example. Last night, my friends kept calling me while I was trying to write my essay for class, and I continually lost my train of thought as I was writing it because of them. This person was trying to write his essay. He was concentrating. He had a train of thought, but his friends kept calling him and interrupting his line of thinking, okay, as he wrote his essay. Got it? All right, and now for number 500, our final idiom, grasping at straws. And the example is, our company was eliminating all of the senior executives in our department, and Andrew was grasping at straws when he begged the owner to keep him. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is C, to act in desperation with little or no hope. In our example, Andrew is acting in desperation here, right? He's going to the owner, or he went to the owner to try to keep his job, even though the company was eliminating, getting rid of all of their senior executives. Okay, so in a desperate move, Andrew tried, and he begged the owner. Okay, you beg, I think you're pretty desperate. Here's another example. The mayor is really grasping at straws in his attempt to defend the controversial legislation he has put forth regarding the environmental problems in the city. Now, this looks like a typical politician where they are trying to defend their view on some issue that in this case is controversial, dealing with the environment. Okay, so it seems like from the context that this was his last chance to try to defend this issue that was in the city, okay, with the environment. So he was grasping at straws. He was desperate in his attempt to defend it. Got it? That's all for this video. Thanks again for subscribing, and please like and share the video to support the channel, which is growing very fast. And remember what I always say, keep practicing! I'll see you next time.